Little Horse and Big Conversation. Welcome to Little Horse and Big Conversation, where we give them their say, let the horse guide the way. Here at Little Horse and Big Conversation, we have the choice, so let's give them a voice. Here at Little Horse and Big Conversation, Little Horse and Big Conversation.
Hello and welcome to this next episode of the Little Horse Big Conversation podcast. You are here once again with me, Amy Mitchell, and my co-host, Ross Cooper. This is going to be a exciting little episode because Ross and I have been away on a Little Horse Big Conversation road trip all the way to Wisconsin in the US of A, where we spent 3 days watching Nahshon Cook working with some horses that he's been working with on a regular basis. But that wasn't the whole of the adventure. There was multiple incidents that happened along the way to make it a bit of a wild ride. So Nahshon's going to be joining us for a bit of a conversation later on in this podcast. But for now, Ross and I are just going to give you a bit of a recap of how we felt the weekend went. So, Ross...
I genuinely still find it hard to put into words what actually happened to us. Now, I said on the first day, between me and Amy, we have some really awesome things that happen within our lives, but there also seems to be a parallel of absolute chaos at times. So the fact that we both took ourselves together to a foreign country, you know, what would you all expect?
What could possibly go wrong?
So, I mean, I'll let Amy kind of, because everyone who knows me will get a bit of a giggle out of this. I mean, what did you say in terms of the contrast between you and I in getting to the airport? I do smile at this.
Yeah, so I think this kind of sums Ross and I's attitude up to timing and life.
The flight was 11 o'clock, wasn't it?
The flight was 11 o'clock in the morning. Yes. So me being me, super organised, went down the night before, got the train down, stayed in a hotel the night before, moseyed on over to the airport about 8 o'clock in the morning, just ready for the moment the check-in opened. Ross, on the other hand, gets in his car at about 6:30 in the morning.
It was 6 o'clock. I was in the car.
6 o'clock. Drives down, cruises into Heathrow at about 9:30. Now, fortunately, it all went well. But for me, the panic would have been what would have happened if there'd been a car crash on the M25. Like, this all would have been going through my head. Whereas Ross is just like, it'll all be fine. So...
Which was that not an attitude which really got us through some of those trials and tribulations of the entire weekend?
Yeah, I said to Ross that with his approach to timekeeping, I was either going to find the weekend really stressful because I can't bear being late, or it would be really therapeutic for me because it would make me kind of give in to the whole situation. And I think by the end of the weekend, I kind of had just given into the situation. But we weren't really late, were we?
We weren't late anywhere, which I know a lot of people...
late anywhere.
I know a lot of people hearing that will be very surprised
frankly shocked.
because I'm involved. I mean, when it comes to traveling, I'm very much, you know, if it's £80 in a hotel, which I think that's nice, and I super appreciate that. It takes a lot of the stress out, but I'm certainly one of those where if I can save a little bit there at the same time, as I think the main thing for me is when traveling, I don't like too much time in my own thought process sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yes, yeah. I know that.
Yeah, if you're not a massive fan of flying, I get that time spent in the airport thinking about the fact that you're going to be on a plane is a tiny bit stressful.
Yeah, but we both made it onto the plane.
We did.
We got to we flew into Chicago on time.
Chicago, yeah.
And we picked up the car on time. However, The
Yeah,
car was the first in a line of scenarios for the first day, I think.
it was. Yeah, it
So
was.
this was hilarious. So shout out to Enterprise because I they were really good, but also quite amusing. So whenever I've been away to the States, I've always booked with Enterprise because I just find them just really, really straightforward. Just, customer service is great. Um, so I obviously pre-booked the car, and I do like something a bit bigger and bulkier when we go, well, when I drive abroad. So I had picked the car and I had added the GPS on because, you know, as a lot of us who go abroad know, in certain countries we don't really get the service, the signal, and it costs for GPS. So I thought we'll add it onto the car because it's a smart move to do. However, when we got there, it took an hour and a half from getting to checking in the car to actually leaving the barrier for a number of reasons. So we were first asked which car we would like. Out of all four cars that we picked that were in our range remit, none of them were suitable for GPS. It wasn't compatible with any of the cars. So it was a case of this car, attendant going away and checking in, coming back, not suitable. So we did that probably about 3 or 4 times until they made a suggestion of plugging in one of our phones using our own data into the car, which was a little bit, I felt it's a little bit counterproductive because we'd paid for the GPS. So what we effectively ended up doing was taking off the GPS, getting refunded for that, and Amy thankfully had bought a data bundle, so she was able to use her GPS throughout the time there, which was really helpful. But then when it came to actually leaving the garage, I was asked if my name was Larry
Yeah, Larry
Larry
somebody or other.
Bezensky or something, and I was like,
Are you Larry?
no. Well, what's your name? Ross Cooper. It's not Larry then. No, I've never been a
No.
Larry. And I don't know how this happened, but our details had been lost off the database.
Yeah, the car was booked out to Larry, whoever Larry was. There was no sign of Ross on the database. So, yeah, long story short, we then sat there at a barrier for about another half an hour while various managers came out and tried to fix it up. So we're like, oh well, that's probably our bad luck for the trip out of the way, and off we went. So we got onto the road, we headed north, we stopped, did a bit of food shopping, went and had a nice meal in a Mexican.
That Mexican was good.
It was good, yeah, it was really good, that Mexican. Then we decided that we'd mosey on off to the hotel. It was getting to about 8:30 in the evening, so it seemed a good time to check into the hotel. Bearing in mind, I'd contacted the hotel to message them about something a few days previously, and they'd replied. We rocked up at the hotel, only to find that it was closed. There was nobody there. The doors were all locked. It was completely closed. So
It was like The
first thing is,
Shining.
it was
Actually
like The
The
Shining.
It was quite eerie because we
It
got
was really
there
quite, yeah. It
at
was like
quarter
dusk
to
time,
9.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and there was no car parking. It was on the side of on the side of a not a freeway, but it was on the
Yeah,
side
like
of the
like
road, like a
a
bit of a
UK A
motel.
road, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did a recce of driving around the entire hotel because I was like, well, maybe everyone's out for dinner.
Yeah.
It turns out no one was out for
No.
dinner.
So I phoned the number that was there with the hotel, got the manager on the phone who was basically very unhelpful and just went, meh, well, we're having building works done, so the hotel's shut. Like, well, you can't be because we've got 2 rooms booked for 4 nights. Nah, what do you expect me to do about it? So, so we're both at this point feeling a little bit despondent. And while we were thinking out the next part of the cunning plan, we sat down on the curb outside the hotel. And I'll let Ross fill you in on the next episode of of the evening's adventure.
So while we are while we are debating what to do, now in these situations, this is the first time me and Amy have been together in a travel situation. I'm actually fairly chill about everything. Amy is also fairly chill. However, there is one giveaway to her internal state, which we will get to later on, which is the hair. Um, so we sat outside this hotel after having both spoken to the manager, just contemplating what we do in this new world. We're abroad with nowhere to sleep. We're effectively homeless in America. So we're there with a backpack each and a Waitrose bag. Basically on the side of a freeway, sat outside this hotel with no car. Then we hear a sheriff then pulls up, gets out of the car and asks us, do we need some help? Because we look like we're either looking to cause some trouble or we're in need of assistance. And it was a really nice chap. And we were like, we could do with a little bit of assistance because this place is shut and we need a place to stay. Albeit he gave us some excellent recommendations. Also, bearing in mind this was 9:30 at night, he also gave us a recommendation of an ice cream place, which, as as thoughtful as that was,
drive up this road and the hotel's about half an hour away. But when you turn right on this particular junction, there's an amazing ice cream parlor. You should stop there. Right? Yeah, that's really helpful. But right now we just need a hotel room.
A bed would have been great, please. So we have a chat with the sheriff and he gives us some advice and on his way. So we head back to the car. Amy's then on the phone to booking.com trying to sort out the issue with the hotel. Shout out to you, Bayment by Wyndham Harvard in Illinois.
Yeah.
Your card is now marked.
Yeah. Yeah, for being the most unreliable hotel.
Thankfully, I mean, on a serious note, we managed to find a few options of hotels. Amy was having a chat with booking.com and managed to follow their protocol to try and sort this out. But on a serious note, luckily we had finances to be able to source a hotel and then effectively working through the reimbursement process. But, if that was someone who was a single parent with a couple of kids with it having a pool, with maybe not too much on a credit card, anything like that, it could have been a really sticky situation. So I find a few hotels up on the Wisconsin side, and we end up driving probably about 35 minutes to find the hotel. In which case, as we're driving along, we see
by
fireflies.
Which time it's pitch black. Yes.
And
so
Amy's on the phone to Nahshon at this point. And what were you guys saying? You were basically
we were just talking about the fact that because poor Nahshon was concerned about our well-being and didn't want us sleeping in a car on the side of the road. So I was explaining to him that we had a hotel that looked like it had rooms that we were heading towards, and then suddenly out of the blue, well, maybe we can snip it in the recording. But
I think we need to.
Essentially, it ended up in this somewhat surreal conversation that went from hotel to suddenly overexcitement about the fact that we were seeing fireflies all along the side of the road.
And that was the silver lining. But I think
it was.
I think we are going to have to put the little clip in from WhatsApp.
Yeah, I think we should.
At the end of the conversation. I mean, even actually, let's insert it here for everyone to listen to, just for the giggles. So here is a little excerpt from the conversation on the night of arrival.
Okay, thank you. We've checked a couple of places online that say that they have got vacancies. So we're heading in that general direction. It looks like there are a few options. So I think we'll be fine. It's just it's been a long day. What time would you like us to arrive tomorrow? What's the situation tomorrow? And we will give you an update.
Fireflies.
Oh, fireflies. Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Oh, there's loads of fireflies along the side of the road.
If the hotel hadn't been shut,
we wouldn't have seen the fireflies. They're all everywhere. Oh my God, there's loads of them.
Fucking amazing. I sound fucking high. Am I still being recorded? So, as you can see, or as you can hear, because you wouldn't want to have really seen it, we're getting mildly more animated. And the great thing about it was I hadn't noticed Amy's hair as we got as we got further and further through the night, and just slightly more sensitized and hyperactive about how everything was going. Amy's hair pretty much took over the entire car. It wasn't until I'd noticed these fireflies, looked to my right, and Amy's hair is literally touching the roof.
Yeah, it looked like someone had done a proper impressive backcombing job on it. But no, it was just its natural expression of my heightened sense of electrical excitability from the whole situation.
I think it must have been. There's no other way to describe it. But I think that
yes.
image will sit in my head forever.
Yeah. I mean, the end of the tale was we got ourselves to a hotel, and without going into the details of my ongoing attempts to get money back out of Booking.com, that they still haven't paid up for. So definitely a big boo to Booking.com. They also sent us on the email where they sent us suggestions for other hotels we might like. A whole list of about half a dozen hotels that were not even in the same state.
Yeah, that was comical.
We're like thousands of miles away. Have you seen America? Like, are you aware that America's quite big?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Here are some hotels within your budget in Nebraska and Kentucky.
yeah,
Which,
not quite on the doorstep of Wisconsin, to be honest.
no,
Um,
a little bit
but
varied
yes,
from what we first.
we took our own initiative and we got another hotel, and um, yeah, finally got to rooms at about 10:30 at night. And I mean, it did mean I got a very good night's sleep because by the time we got to the hotel, I was that tired.
We actually was quite fresh when we got up the next morning.
Yeah, yes. Which brings us beautifully into the 3 days at the clinic. So I mean, obviously we've been back. Hard to believe we've been back a couple of weeks now. Um, how are you thinking about things now on reflection, Ross? What have you taken? Have you been putting anything into practice since you've been back at work?
Oh, good question. Good question. I think there are a lot of things that I'm still sitting with and
Mm,
kind of looking at little excerpts of how I can integrate certain things. So internal space of which you apply something from. So I think that's the main element of which I'm checking in with.
mm,
How am I showing up to my lessons? What am I doing aside from my lessons, which allows me to show up the best that I can
mm.
to support either the person or to support the horse or equally the two together. So I think that has been my main consideration coming away from that. But there, I think, was also a level of validation
Yeah,
for me personally, because you and Nahshon and so many other people are always going, you need to trust yourself, crack
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And that obviously goes in fits and starts and wavers.
Yeah.
So, in relation to the more classical application of horsemanship, is something that I've been integrating and introducing for maybe the past 2 or 3 years. But I think witnessing the work over the weekend has effectively validated my thoughts on applying it.
Yeah, cool.
So that for me has just given me that little bit more trust in going, actually, I'm really liking how Nishon's presenting it. I
Mm,
like how the horses are communicating and feeding back to him with the positive changes. And it links into a similar kind of way that I have been experimenting with applying that within my own work. So for me, I think it's that check in, how am I showing up with a level of validation to, again, continue trusting myself, which is always part of the theme for me.
yeah, that's really cool.
So I
That's
think
really
they're my
cool.
two takeaways, one per week, ironically, since we've been back
Mm,
on reflection.
yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a whole notepad full of stuff. And some of it we'll get into talking about in the next the next part of this podcast, when we
There's
have
another part of the
when there is
podcast.
another part of the podcast.
What?
But things that I've been playing around with, really, with my own horses, is like I found the way that Nahshon was saying that, he's working fairly intensively with these horses for 5 days, and then having a 2 week break, and then doing another 5 day intensive. That gave me a lot of heart, because I've often backed off from doing stuff because I felt I need to be really consistent and be doing stuff all the time. And I know with my schedule, that's just not going to happen. So that's given me a bit of heart, and it's actually meant I've been doing more because I haven't felt that I have to, if that makes sense. So I've done a couple of little sessions with Jasmine since I've been back. And one of the things I really enjoyed seeing was the way that Nahshon was rewarding horses, like giving a treat reward, but for an emotional state rather than for an activity. And for me, I really loved that. And I've been playing around with that. And it's just the few sessions that I've had with Jasmine since I've come back. It's been amazing. And I've just been kind of doing tiny little bits of stuff with her, and then stopping and hanging out with her and giving her a bit of a brush, and then doing a little tiny bit more. And it's just like the whole session has just felt really kind of peaceful, and I felt like she and I have been totally on the same level. And yeah, it's been really good. And he gave me a couple of extra things to work on with Munchkin. So we're in the very early stages of potentially learning some Spanish walk, because I think it will be really good for him. So yeah, those are the things that I've been doing, because I don't always talk that often, I don't think, on the podcast about what I do with my own horses.
No, I don't think you do.
No.
Which you should do more of.
But yeah, that's been really, really nice. Yeah, and it's been lovely, because I've come out at the end of the sessions feeling great and really relaxed and grounded, and so has she. So, yeah, what more could you want, really?
Massive win.
But I mean, there's loads more things that I could talk about, but I think there's a better way we could do that, and we could introduce a little bit of a follow-up conversation that we've recorded with the great man himself.
On that note,
I'm very pleased to announce that we have got the fabulous Nahshon Cook joining us for a bit of a conversation, a recap, and a discussion about the weekend. Let's get Nahshon's perspective on the on everything that happened with the horses, with the people, and some of the other craziness that happened outside of the whole situation. Some of which we'll share, and some of which we won't.
You know, when we said about you leading, Amy, that's a lot of leads.
That's a lot of leads.
Like,
taking the boat out to the middle of the ocean and throwing him in and going away.
it's like you can just see Nahshon's brain over the wall. Just like, what?
Okay. First, like I was just saying, like I was really grateful that you and Ross made the trip out. And because like this is kind of the first time that I've done this kind of presentation where it's strictly me working with the horses that are in my world. And I've had great fun with it. I think that I think what I really enjoy most is the ability to just share kind of the closeness that it takes for the progress to be made. And how like it's really important for the horses to be in love with me. And I'm really glad that we're to the point where they feel safe sharing that space with people. Because all of them weren't, you know what I mean? And so I'm really proud of them, and I'm really proud of how they hold the guests' attention, You know what I mean? They really, and this is how our work sessions generally are, but I just really am thankful that they do such a good job teaching how they feel about the process that our work is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think uh, for me, because obviously, Ross and I have seen you working in UK clinics a couple of times,
Yeah.
but it's a very different situation because you're working with entirely different horses, entirely different owners that you've never met before in a
And
venue
we'll
that you're
never
not
see
familiar
again, most
with.
likely.
No,
Yeah.
and that the horses are not familiar with, and those were very magical clinics. But I actually found seeing you working with those horses that you're working with on a regular basis much more insightful into the way that you work and that that relationship that you've got with the horses. I think is something so incredibly special
Yeah. Yes.
that that. And you're never going to see that in an external clinic, but just seeing that bond that you've built with them and the trust that is so clear from both sides.
Yeah.
But even if you didn't take anything else away from it, that in itself was an amazing experience and something really kind of magical and life enhancing to see.
Yeah, we're all really in love with each other for sure. I mean, and defined as like, like here's my heart and here's all the buttons to push to that you can push to break it, and I'm going to trust you not to break my heart. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like that's what we have with and for each other. And what is so beautiful is like Via feeling super safe enough to be like, okay, I'm ready to canter. I mean, that's the first
yeah,
time that was the first time I'd ever cantered on her before. You know what I mean? And it was just because she was locked in and she was focused and she felt good and balanced and she was like, and it was lovely. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Um,
That was beautiful to watch.
yeah. It really
yeah,
was.
I mean, I'm like, "Are you ready?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got it." And she did the correct lead and everything, you know? I mean, I'm so proud of them, you know? I'm just so incredibly proud of them. And I'm proud of our team there. Um, and just, I mean, because, like those, everybody there just does such a beautiful job loving horses,
Yeah, that's so evident.
And I think
you
I
know?
think that was something that really stood out for me was when you was talking about finding a safe place, but also being able to
Hmm.
create a safe place.
Hmm.
And it really made me think about the biggest, well, just the bigger picture of how we work with horses, because there's only so many things that we are able to do for them within external situations. So
Sure.
for you to have that environment where the environment promotes the healing
Mm,
with the people that promote the healing, the horses are then embodying the healing. I thought that was just awesome to see all of those three connective pieces come together.
Yeah, I mean it's wild because like sometimes I can feel when I've arrived there. You know what I mean?
mm.
Like and that arena really loves holding that space for the horses. Um yeah, it's just turned into something that I never expected and I'm really grateful for. Yeah. And then the horses with all of their personalities, like like illustrate just like melting in your heart, and like Inca being super opinionated and thinking needing to think that everyone else is an idiot, and Pal like ready to go party, you know what I mean, like, and then Via who's just like this really like a kid learning how to ride their bike without training wheels, you know what I mean? And then Jay, who's like super beautiful and awkward and goofy, I mean, they're all just incredible. I mean, and Jim, just the brilliant little professor that he was, just so full of grace and kindness. Um, it's really and then Rania, who's just learning where her feet
Mm.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
she's,
Yeah. Like her baby face is just the most
she,
adorable thing.
oh, she's not sure how her lips get a little crumply and you know
She has just got
yeah,
such a
so
baby energy about her.
she does. She has such a baby energy about her. And like Via was like that for a long time until she wasn't. And like Rania showed up and like Via all of a sudden grew up. She's like, okay, I'm ready to be written. I was like, oh, all right. I mean, it really just happened like that. And like, um, but only when Rania showed up. It's been really cool to see the dynamics of that herd just shift and change and everybody just move into the softness of their next step. It's just been really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is like, so June, was June your third clinic at Wild Rose? Was it the third
Yeah,
gathering?
yeah,
Yeah.
the third gathering, yeah, for sure.
How have you felt the clinics have gone sort of over the past 3 months, and how have the horses responded?
Well, the horses have been steady. I'm always afraid of every decision that I make to grow. Always.
It's healthy.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
I mean, most nights I don't sleep, and you know what I mean, and like I'm trying to exercise and make myself tired, and I mean, and a lot of times I just don't sleep. Um, but I trust the horses to carry me and to guide the lesson, and because that's how our process works there, and they've done a fantastic job. I mean, I always feel like when I do things like that, there's a gazillion things that I could do better. Um, because I'm unrealistic with myself in many ways like that. Um, um, but I think that once the social anxiety around talking in the beginning, and me being afraid to make eye contact with people, and I mean, but it's just like okay, we're here, they came to see you guys, it's time to jump. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, and
That,
I have my little I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, sorry, go on.
I have my little script in my head about, these are the kind of the rules, and like these are the questions I'd like you to entertain, and do you have any questions, and who are you? And like by the time people get through that, then I feel like I'm in a pretty good flow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was something that I noticed quite obviously with, you starting off so vulnerable and saying about the eye contact, and,
Yeah.
these situations are all new, which I think it's great to be so honest like that. But that changes for you as you find your flow.
Sometimes I think the arena is the safest place for me.
Mm.
But and the hardest part is always getting there. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
smoothing and the good morning and the this and that and it. And I mean, and I haven't found that it has gotten easier. But I do. I trust my work, and I trust my horses. You know what I mean? Like and like I don't need to be perfect as long as I can hold as long as they hold me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I just don't do well trying to be more confident than I am. It always falls hard, and and it doesn't impede on my ability to do my job. And I just think that it's important that for myself to know, because I'm incredibly hard on myself, that I just I don't have to act like I'm perfect. My
Yeah.
work is really good.
I can kind of
My work,
empathize with that.
yeah, my
I
work is
always
really
find
good.
whenever I take
Go
a new
ahead.
group of students, the first workshop that I do with them, I feel massive anxiety about
Yeah,
it. And I find the first day always really stressful because they're new people and I don't know them, and they've put a lot of faith in me by investing in my course, and I don't want to let them down, and I want to make sure that they get a good
yeah,
experience and like all this, and I can project confidence to the outside world, but quite often inside I'm feeling really like, oh my God, this is really hard. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm flabbergasted every time that people come. You know what I mean? I mean, and and you all came from the UK, and Eva came from South Africa, and it's just like, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
also have to remember, like, everybody came for the work they see us doing every day, and
exactly.
you know what I mean? And so, I'm gonna show up in my little t-shirt and my jean and my pants, and whatever my hair decides to do that morning. If it'll stay in braids, then great. If not, then we're going total palm trees. But I think that overall, um, from I always know that I try to do my best. I'm not always quite sure that that's how it's received, but the feedback has been tremendous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The feedback has been tremendous, and especially with this being a very a very different format. You know what I mean? Like it's been great.
Yeah. I think the format is really good. I think like a lot of times clinics are very performative,
Oh yeah. No, I'm not
which
good at
this
that.
absolutely was not. This was I'm going to use the word just, but I don't mean that. I don't mean it
Yeah,
to
sure.
diminish, but it was just you doing what you
Training.
would be doing with those horses for a training
Without
session,
Yeah.
and kind of answering questions and having us there to observe.
Yep,
Like
that's
there
it.
was no performative aspect to it at all, which for
No.
me was what made it so authentic and real and kind of believable. You could
Yeah.
really see how these horses were physically and emotionally. And, hearing you and Jean talk about where the horses have come from physically and emotionally, and, being able to see that real progress, and all of them having that really lovely kind of, well, except when he was getting excited when he was being ridden with Pal, but that really lovely kind of just calm nervous system, just happy to be there,
Yeah.
happy. Like most of them, when you once they'd had their second banana. So, for those of you that haven't seen Nahshon in one of these sessions, all the horses, as soon as they come into the arena, they get half a banana, and then at the end of the session, they get the other half of the banana,
Yeah.
which is really lovely. But it was the way that when you were sat on the mounting block afterwards with the horses just stood there really relaxed, answering questions, and then you'd get to the end of the session, and either you or Jean would go to lead the horse out, and the horse would be like, no, I'm kind of happy to hang out here a
I
bit
want to
longer,
hang out.
actually. It was just like, this is so beautiful,
Yeah.
like such a
Yeah.
lovely, lovely thing.
Yeah. This is what happens when the world is built around sport horses, really talented horses, um, really, really special horses, um, who in the beginning, I mean, it's easy to see with most of them, with all of them, how they ended up hurt because people saw them just for what they could do. I mean, but even with Pal, I think that like he would get super excited, but he never stopped listening to me.
No,
You know what
no.
I mean? And when I asked him to slow down or stop or do something, he always did it.
Yeah,
But what I really enjoy about him is that, like, it really is like, to be happy, you really have to listen to him. And he has to know that he's being heard and that his ideas are valuable enough for you to go along with sometimes. So like when we were cantering and like, okay, yeah, like he's like, okay, we'll canter in place and then we gallop and then we canter in place and then we got he goes, and now for lead changes. And I mean, he just loves his work so much. And he would be like that little brilliant kid who'd always get in trouble for saying stuff for shock value. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
really, really bright, really like knows things and doesn't know how they know them. And like when they're not being little assholes, like they seem like they're ancient. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
would be that one. Like, and so like it's like how do we work with that shock value and turn it into something brilliant? Because he is one of the most talented horses I have ever worked with. He is phenomenal, but only when he's having fun.
Because what was
You
Pal's
know what I mean?
backstory?
Pal was bred in Brazil and imported, and like all of those really beautiful horses that are imported, um, they're and that they want to sell for a lot of money. They don't give them basic work. You know what I mean? And so, it's quite likely that he had been tranquilized while he was working as a young horse. Um, and you know and he started as a stallion and then he hadn't been around mares, and so coming into Jean's place, she had mares there and he just was not. Um and I just don't think that like the trainers there who went with Jean to get him really understood him, because I think that with the right understanding he would have been able to remain a stallion and be quite content. Um, but he had kissing spine and then he had gelding scar issues after he was gelded. And I think she got him when he was like 8. I think he was 8 because he's 12 now. Um, and yeah, when I first met him, he was so angry. Um, and like he was so angry that his face was actually thinner. He looked like a bird in his face. It was so sharp. And um and he was just upset. Um because he's really smart and he's smarter than most people. He's smarter than me most of the time. Um and people tried to diminish that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They tried to make him just a horse. Um and he's an incredible intellect. And a really brilliant artist, and really has ideas about how, and like everybody but him we did groundwork on, because he absolutely hates it. He can do it, but he just is not happy doing it. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that's his story. And I remember the first time I went to get on him, he politely stepped away from the mounting block. And so I didn't ride him. And like it used to be when people were in there, he would be so anxious that he wouldn't stop. And so, eventually Jean closed her barn. She put out all of her boarders so her horses could heal. And now we're to the place where we can have people back in. It's taken 4 years. Yeah, the whole process from people being
Mm.
there and leaving to now being able to have people back in, it's taken 4 years.
Because I think we talking to Kieran, and he said like literally after the borders left, everything was just like a switch.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Shotos Shoto started getting better. Um, Bold, the little stallion who decided he was retiring from audiences, got better. I mean, and that came around because like in April, we were in the middle of a lesson and he stopped and he was like, I don't want to do this in front of people anymore. And so we stopped the lesson and I sat down on the mounting block and he down regulated and like everybody was in meditation. I looked around and everybody's just like,
Amazing.
um and yeah, but he started getting better, and yeah, everybody and the feeling of the place changed. Because, in all fairness, and this is not a secret, a lot of dressage people are awful. You know what I mean? Like they can
Mm.
really be judgmental, they can really be unfair. A lot of the time they are not tuned in to the emotional well-being of their horses, and they only want what the horse can give them. Um and it's amazing to me how many dressage horses actually survive dressage training.
Mm.
Um and but there are some, like all of the ones in this herd, that just don't. They don't allow themselves to be hurt. They don't allow themselves to be not considered. Um and like with Via, like she would rather like not be here than continue being hurt. Um and so, you know, um I respect them for that very much.
I love
But
Vera. I've got
dressage,
quite a little soft spot for her.
she's so magnificent.
She's just so chatty.
She is. And the thing is that like she can like remote view, and what it like do it can hear in on you remotely too, and like straight up
Mm.
have conversations with you. And that's, I mean, and that's how the slicker brush thing came along. My mom was brushing one of the cats, and I was sitting in the hallway talking to my mom, and I just heard Via say, "Oh, that feels so good." Oh my God. And I had never thought to use a slicker brush on a horse. So then I took it out to my pony and tried it, and he was like, "Yeah, this is the shit." And she goes, "Oh, this is so good." And I was like, "Gene, I think, I mean, and that's how it is. Like they show me something else, called Gene, and I was like, "Could you please get a cat brush?" And I was like, Via just showed up. And like that was the beginning of Via coming around, because like when she came, she was really dangerous. Via
Mm.
was really, really dangerous. She just did not feel safe with people, and she didn't feel safe. I would walk her around the arena, and she just, I mean, in hand on her line, and she just kicked the kickboards. She was so upset. Um, and rightfully so. But boy, we got that slicker brush, and she was like, "Okay, I know that you hear me, and here you go." And that was, I mean, and then I just brushed her, and then I started doing Liberty work with her, and then Liberty turned to lunging, and then, we were able to put the poles out, and then she could do a little bit, and her stifle started getting better and better and better, and her back, there, I, there, she had a lump, and we were doing some of Boucher's flexions, and like I did a direct flexion, and it was like the whole arena just went. I mean, and it felt like that too. And after that, the lump in her back was gone.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, and like it was so much so that like her hind feet popped up off of the floor, and she was just balancing on her front feet. And when she landed, her spine was straight.
Wow.
Yeah. Like shit like that happens all the time in my
Yeah.
world. It's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild. And it was like Shoto and the his pasterns with the bit. You know what I mean? And then one day we were in his stall, and I was brushing him, and like he stretched his left hind leg out, and one of his ribs popped into place. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
You know what I mean? It's just wild. Or Lustre and his leg starting to grow again. I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember there was a really profound moment. I think it was Saturday when you had already mentioned about how Via tunes into your internal dialogue and how we speak about her. And I think you were responding to a question that someone in the audience had asked.
And she was like, "Ross,
It's-
listen to this."
And she was like, "Hmm."
This is what I think about Nahshon.
And literally, you literally just went, please give me a minute, and then off you guys went. And it was literally so obvious that change. She was like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and listening to horses, you all saw, I mean, and you all know, but I think everybody else saw, like, it's not an abstraction. Like, they're very clear. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, they're very, very clear. And and when we listen to them, they're they're wonderful. They're awake.
Yeah. Yeah. I think something that you said really seemed because I was just it was interesting to kind of people watch at the same time. And there was just a
They're
few little nuggets that you threw out there where you just saw people go, huh.
Ah.
And, and you kind of saw expressions change and you saw size and you kind of like just got little mic drops. And I think it was something along the lines of the further we are away, the harder it is to hear. And
yeah.
that's a given, but it was one of those where you just heard that unanimous, oh yeah.
Well, and it's not, and I mean, and it's just like relationships, right? Like it's relationships with ourselves, it's relationships with people in our lives, it's just relationships. The further away you are, the harder it is to hear and the
Mm,
harder it is to see. You know what I mean? And what I thought was really something else because like Jim had been up and down since about lunchtime on Sunday. And
yeah.
it was just so wild how like the in question was with the lady who was talking about having just lost her horse
Mm.
and and I'm like, the hardest part about this art form is that they die. And here we are 2 hours later having to put him down. I mean, just the most beautiful little Levad pony ever. You know what I mean? Just beautiful little Levads.
Yeah.
So lovely. And I mean, and like that's the I think that's what makes I think that, that's also what makes the teaching true is that like I live it. You know what I mean? And like while I was saying that, like his belly was taking over the rest of his life.
Mm,
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so it was really I mean, and just how sometimes lessons come to life,
yeah.
you know? And
'Cause it
it's like
has
and it's like you have to keep living, you know?
and it had been that everyone in that room had experienced grief at some
Major
point.
grief. And recently,
Yeah.
Mm.
major stuff. Relationships ending, long-term relationships ending, job stuff, losing horses, I mean, finding themselves again. Like it was major. Um, and it just felt like that, like the lessons happen when it's time for them to happen.
Yeah. And I
You know
thought it
what I
was
mean?
really I thought it was again, like we spoke about, I thought it was sad that Jim passed, but I also found it very poetic how that weekend came to a close with him passing over, given the themes of the weekend.
It was powerful, I think. And you know, and I tell my folks at home, like if something happens to me, then because I'm my horse's primary person, I want all of my horses put to sleep because I don't want them to be in situations where somebody else has to deal with their broken heart. And if they decide not to stay,
Mm.
Um, you know what I mean? Because I've brought them through, and they, each of my horses came to me in a dream, like they're my horses. Um, and um, and I think Jim was a perfect example of that. Like he loved his previous person so much that he couldn't give his heart to anybody else. You know what I mean? Um, and so, I think that there's so much that comes with loving horses and loving life, and we only really see it. I have experienced when we don't love them so much that we can't let them go, and we kind of keep that at the forefront always. Um, because like I've had experiences where they didn't pass, but they definitely weren't my horse, and they told me who they needed to go to, and I've done that too. I just think that like the closer I get to horses and the deeper I have the courage to go into my own heart, the more, you know, just our practices of being with them in the traditional sense, most of them, it's just unspeakably brutal.
Mm.
I mean, and it's not even inhumane. It's not life-giving.
No.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
It's not
completely.
life-giving. I mean, and especially when you get to the point to where like you can hear their voices as easily as you can hear a breeze. You know what I mean? Like my young mare, she's learning to go out. She was a racehorse, and she was a polo pony, and was headed for the kill pin all by the time she was 3. And so we've taken the last few. I mean, I think we gave her 3 or 4 years just to sit. And now I think she's 9 or 10. Um, and we've slowly been these last 2 years been bringing her along under saddle very, very slowly. Cantering is still very scary for her. Um, but I realized so is being in a big field because of the polo fields. And so I took her around the farm, and and she got to this point where she was just like, okay, she stopped and she turned and looked at me. She was like, okay, this is as much as I can do. I need you to get down and walk with me.
Yeah.
Clear as day. You know what I mean? I need you to sit. And I got off and she did a big sigh, and we walked back to the stable together. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's not something to work through when you hear them and they tell you what they need. You know what I mean? It's not, I mean, and like the thing is like when you get to that point, and not as a hypothesis or some like new age hope, but when you hear them, like the only thing you can do is act like you didn't hear what you just heard and push through with what you want them to do for you. You know what I mean? And like when we get to that point, I feel like, and if we do that, like I don't think I'm worthy of them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't deserve them in my life anymore because I know better. And I'm choosing, I'm choosing to resurrect a dead self that is no longer useful in the world, you
Choices.
know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's been some stuff with Via. Like I had a stone And she was like, I really like that stone. And I was at home. I was like, Mia, Via, I'm trying to take a nap. She goes, I really like that stone. And I was like, I was like, she's and I was like, and she's like, I would really like that stone. And I was like, I was like, I want this one. And how about I give you another one? She goes, well, then me and you would know that you were lying. And so I gave her the stone. And then I brought the other one. I brought the other one, and we had some guests in from Germany. And she was like, that's theirs. And so I gave it to them. And at that moment they were pregnant. And they were like, yeah, well, we're gonna give it to our kiddo when he's old enough. I mean, and I don't know what that connection is, but like it's what she thought was appropriate. You know what I mean? Like when you hear them, you can't unhear them. And like if you do what they ask you not to do, it's only you and them who knows that you're lying. But like that's enough.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's enough. You know? I mean, and like you all saw, like being honest with them is not something I can like record and put on some subscription platform. It's just like fucking hear them.
Mm. An extension of that,
You know
why
what I
would you
mean?
want to be? Why would you want to do that?
Because people have asked me to.
Yeah.
That's why. Because 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 I think one of the things that I am super grateful for in the people that come and experience this is that like this is work that you have to do for yourself.
Mm.
Like a teacher cannot be responsible for you holding hurts that are no longer useful. Right? Right? Like Ross, you and I were talking about how like you can't protect things that aren't resolved.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if we move through life as like half human beings, like that's all we'll be able to see. But like there is so much more if we have the courage. We don't even have to process stuff. We not everything. It's just like if it's time to let it go and we can let it go, we don't always have to understand it. It's over. You know? Like it's over. And like, what more is there to understand? Like, how will it help?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's some things
Totally.
that need understanding, but like, but the thing is that like with horses, like we expect them to just get over shit.
Yeah.
They move from
Yes.
one person to another, have to learn a whole new language, have to learn a whole new way of being. They're like foster children that we pay for. This person isn't happy with us. Okay, well, I mean, and with horses, it's just easier to kill them. And like with Via, she'd been through four trainers by the time she was 4.5 years old, and then is set to be put to sleep. And there's really nothing wrong with her.
No. No.
You know what I mean? And all of that was people shit that they didn't get over, that they projected on her, and then passed her along and was gonna put her to sleep.
Mm.
Unresolved shit that they projected on her that they just symbolically just I hope her previous person sees her on that Facebook video.
Yeah, I hope so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody else who turned their back on her, I hope they see it, that there's nothing wrong, and
Yeah.
that all she really wanted was to be close and to touch you and to love you. But like there's some systems of horsemanship where like, a horse asking to touch you is deemed as disrespectful. What?
Mm.
Ugh. Let's not go
Yeah.
on that thread.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
No, I
because like
know.
that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like why do we have to be so fucking combative?
Mm.
Why do we need to depend on war to keep us safe with the choice with keep us safe from our own choice about having horses in our lives? Like these are all of the things that these horses come with. These are all of the things that the horses came with. These are all of the stories that Gene and a lot of horses, their horses were carrying. And like, you know, you guys saw Via be like, I can canter. And then you saw me ask Illustre, like, buddy, can we try this? And he's like, I can't do it to the right, but I can do it to the left, and only if it's not a lot. Like that's what it's like to be in love. You know what I mean? And like I just feel like if I could be in love with all of my relationships, then the people in my life for whom I'm in love with that relationship never goes unheard. They never go unheard. They know that I hear when they say yes and I hear no to like cancel plans because it's no. You know what I mean? Like we're so immature,
Mm,
but like those horses are what happened. Like they're like the visual my horses are like, we are done showing people shit. No more, no more. So I'm glad that Gene's horses are willing to do that because like they're like, this is what happens when like everybody can be in love with each other. Jim has to be put down and we can still come back after dinner and share a lot of laughter.
A lot of laughter.
A lot of laughter.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, still mourn, but still have joy. I mean, like, and like, that's what it's like to be in love. He was ready. Okay. The only option was surgery. He's 25 years old.
No.
And you know what I mean?
Mm,
And like, that's, that's the heart listening. I mean, because like, when we do that, like they again, like I posted, like they show you how to, they take that as an act of love when we listen. And when they know that we love them, they give us their power and they show us how to use it. And the only power that all of us ever have to share with someone else is a choice. That's it. It's not like Piaf and Passage. The power is the power of a choice. You know what I mean? And you saw how all the horses choreographed their lessons so differently. Via's like, I just want to trot. I don't want to walk. I like the way the trot makes me feel. We're gonna trot. We can do transitions. We can do a little lateral. Now I can canter. But walking for some reason, she doesn't like to do that right now. Pal's like, let's just go. Illustri's like, Illustri's like, let's recite poems to each other.
Ah, ah.
You know what I mean? Like they're all so different. They're all so different. Jay's like, how about you show me where my legs are? You know what I mean? Like they're so different, but like when they know that they have the ability to tell you where they are and they can be safe being where they are and you can help them be where you would like them to be safely inside of your question. Man, it's like being in a garden and listening to the flowers tell you their names. You know what I mean? It's just it's so beautiful. And I'm just so grateful that Jean and her herd are willing to share that with people because it's so special.
Yeah, it really is.
It's so special. That they're so happy in their work that they don't want to leave the arena.
Mm,
Like what a sight.
mm.
I mean, and from the beginning of the training process all the way up to the end, from like lunge line to Grand Prix, like they're all just like, nope, we're good. We, just, it's so, so special. I wish every person could have that and experience that with their horses, no matter what. And I wish every horse had the ability to experience feeling so special. Because it just makes the training process so much easier, you know? I've been talking a long time.
That's what we have you here for. It would have been a bit disappointing if you just kind of sat there and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we'd have introed you and then just not let you get a word in edgeways?
Yeah.
Here's Nahshon for all of 30 seconds.
What I mean, what was it that you almost enjoyed about it? If it were feedback, like a feedback perspective,
Yeah.
what was it for you?
We talked about this in the car on the way back to the airport when I
While
wasn't.
Amy was drinking
But when I
a tub of
wasn't
maple
swinging,
syrup,
when I wasn't
she
swinging
couldn't get it
down
back through customs.
250 mils of maple syrup.
This really reflective conversation while Amy's there, literally buzzing in her seat.
I'm like, I'm not wasting this. This cost me $10.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
I have a photo, I'll send it you.
As someone who doesn't normally eat a lot of sugar, it, my body
That's
afterwards was like, zzz.
It was when we got to passport control and Amy was like, my stomach feels weird.
Oh dear.
Oh my gosh. It's so wonderful.
Sorry, but back to serious questions.
Yes, sorry.
Maple syrup aside.
Yeah, we had this conversation in the car. I think for me, there was a number of things. I mean, I really, really enjoyed seeing your relationship with the horses. I thought that was just such a beautiful and inspiring thing. And seeing how lovely and calm they were and how they all had decisions, nothing was ever pushed or forced. It was all an invitation. Everything was an invitation.
Yeah.
And I loved the fact that there was no more one more time with anything. It's like the horse offered you, and then you would say, right, that's it. That's all we need to do.
Yeah, it felt right and it was right and it was balanced and why more?
Which I thought was really lovely. But there was another thing that I thought was really interesting that I was hoping we could sort of talk about a little bit.
Let's do it.
Because I think it's something I really loved the way that you were giving treat rewards for the horse just kind of completely relaxing and down regulating the nervous system.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was so like I've never seen rewards being used in that way before.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so obviously very effective.
It's powerful. Yes.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm certainly going to personally take away.
Yeah.
With my own
because a lot of
horses.
the times treats make horses nuts.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Yeah. And that's actually how that was born, is that Inca was upset because I forgot his banana and he threatened to kick me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And I must say that I walked out swearing him. I was I did not lose my temper, but boy, I lost my tongue. And oh man. And and you know, and the thing is that Inca knows how to do that to people. He's very good at unsettling people into anger, and that's how he had learned to get out of work.
Mm.
Is that he just knew how to push weak people's buttons, and you know, he's like, oh, they've lost their shit. It's not gonna be long now, and you know, it did a number on his body for sure. But like, um, but you know, that's how he controlled situations, and he was not wrong. I
Mm.
did forget, you know what I mean? And that's another thing, right? Like allowing horses to hold you accountable for things and how they will. You know, like you saw the baby walk in, she's like, "Wait, we're doing other things. Like I need my banana before we do other things." Um, but so that was that was um January, February, March. In March of this year, and I was like, well, when I calmed down a little bit and I'd gotten some food in my system, I had talked to Gene and I was like, food's really important for him, but it's I've got to figure a way to get it as a reward for him staying relaxed and not doing things to just poke.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so we had sat at lunch and that's the one thing I love about working there is that Jean has been she has seen her horses get better because you know Inca when he got there he wouldn't walk. He wouldn't walk. Um yeah, he wouldn't. Here, let me put my door up real quick. Sorry. He wouldn't walk. And so we and so and so it's just been this constant just unlayering, unraveling with him. Um but that night I was like, Inca, what do I need to do? And I just saw this image of him in the arena and he's just relaxed and I'm giving him a treat while he's relaxed instead of for doing stuff. And like that's really how it came about. And then like the first time I did it, like his heart, like you could just feel the petals
Mm.
opening. And it was
Amazing.
so beautiful because like he was relaxed and like he and Jean's over in her chair crying because she can feel
Oh.
her horse's heart and it's happy and so then we just implemented it with all of them. And it has been incredible. And I've implemented it with my horses here too. Thoroughbreds, they're my thoroughbreds at least. They're a little different. They're, you know, Lusitanos, Iberians, like they're horses that really like to sit in your heart with you. And like, you know, thoroughbreds are like, hold on. So, you know, but mine are at least. But so finding finding a way that they are really interested enough in the work to offer things and being able to like pal like it like for a while like he just wouldn't stop and like now that he knows that it's coming now that he knows that he gets a reward for stopping and calming down and you know I can just whistle and he just stops. You know, I mean, which is super important because, you know, believe it or not, like Jean's she's able to ride him. He doesn't do that to her, but like and he knows, but like the ability to just kind of create that road of calmness for horses in new situations is just, and in difficult situations. And they know that if I stay relaxed and if I can come back, like I can do hard things and I can put in a lot of effort without getting out of control or in my head. Like I don't know, like it really just came in that evening. And it's just been fantastic, rewarding for state instead of instead of instead of movement. And then the movements are brilliant
Mm. No,
because
I think it's a brilliant idea.
beautiful horses are relaxed horses.
Yeah.
All this shit that we see with tension and I
Mm.
mean, and like all of those horses did all of that work and none of them came behind the vertical.
No,
Mm.
no, absolutely.
Not one,
No.
you know,
Mm.
not even by accident.
No.
Like none of them, they all stay in front of the vertical. Their ears were always over or a little bit behind their snaffle bit rings.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Not one of them brought their head in because I don't depend on that.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't, and we're getting high quality work without taking the horse's dignity away. And so, like, all of those arguments, like, that's the thing. Like, I don't argue with people. Like, it's not necessary to put a horse behind the vertical to get them to lift their back. How do I know? I have 13 horses in my world for whom that's not required.
Mm.
Different types, different breed, different temperament. They are not required to lose their dignity. They're not required to be pulled on.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just there's so much. And I don't participate in those stupid. Like also, like we have major things going on with the body that when they're relaxed and they feel safe, like you don't have to kill them and you don't have to give up on them. You know, you know what I mean? Just feel safe enough for them to feel safe. But
And
that
you'd
would
like to say that's not too much to ask.
I would say like that requires people changing, but in all fairness, there are a lot of people who don't know how to feel safe.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There are a lot of people who don't know what it feels like to feel safe in their body.
Mm. Yeah, that's very true.
So, yeah, it's easy to be hard, but I think people deserve as much grace as horses do. It's a
Mm.
lot harder though. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
So if for you it was the rewarding for down regulating. Ross, what was it for you? Ross, are you still there?
I was sorry. Did I look like
Oh,
I completely checked out, or
yeah,
did I look like I
I was like,
froze?
I was,
He was
I
in
was
thought
like, I
mode.
was like, I was like, the silence. There's the silence.
Sorry, my brain was hitting
And then I
system
started
reboot.
getting a little flustered. I was like, oh God.
Next time, answer quicker, answer quicker. Um, I think for me, there was again similar to Amy. There was a couple of different highlights and takeaways that stand out a little bit more for me. I mean, ultimately, we came over to support you and to see you work in a completely different environment. And I think one of the things that I was super interested in is seeing you work to the level that you can and you do work to with horses that you have a relationship with that you know, because that, like we said earlier, looks very different and is going to look very different from horses that you're just spending an hour with that you're never going to see again. So
Right.
that for me was like quite a standout,
Mm.
interlinked with, just the entire environment that you guys have created for them in terms of having that safety, promoting the healing throughout all of those factors and where they're at because of that.
Yeah, I mean, and that you saw Grand Prix horses that some of them, I mean, that actually move like horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I
Who'd have
mean?
thought it?
Not like
Who would have
compromised
thought?
robots.
You
Yeah.
know, their eyes aren't dead. You
Mm,
know, their mouths aren't dead. Their backs aren't shut down. Nobody there gets injections. I mean, nobody has gotten injections since I've started there.
mm,
You know what
Yeah, I
I
think
mean?
Gene was saying, yeah.
It's wild. It's wild. Like, you know, and like that level of work and that intensity is it doesn't break them down when they're not in tension.
Hmm.
It's all a state. It's all a state. Like it's all an expectation that they have of the work. Is this work going to help me feel better or is it going to help me feel worse? That's the only thing between a horse being sound or not in this level and intensity of work. You know, because you know, you'll hear people, oh, the Grand Prix is no, it's not actually. You know, like there's traditions where, you know, it was normal for Grand Prix horses to last until they were 25, 30 years old, not 10.
mm.
You know what I mean? And I was just having a field day because I guess in the new Grand Prix test, there's a stretchy chewy trot that is a part of it. And like there were all of these international right, well, not all of them, but some notable on Facebook having discussions about it. And one of them was like, well, it's an insult to the basically like the horses and riders who have gotten to this level that they need to show that they're actually correctly trained with the stretchy chewy circle correctly done. He's like, it's an insult to our judges and riders and stewards and like they don't know what they're looking for. And I was like, well, in my mind, I was like, if you really wanted to make it hard, like Pal knows how to do passage, stretchy, chewy, trot, passage. Like
Yeah.
we could really make it not a stretchy, chewy circle, but from the passage and then back into the passage. Like, let's do that to show a horse that's really through. Um, and also one of the things was he was saying he was like the level of horses and riders is better than I have ever seen, and I've been in this for a long time. And I was like, but the level of training is worse.
Mm,
Like we have really high quality riders and really high quality horses, neither of whom or most of whom are not trained correctly.
mm.
And that's the thing. And then the argument was, well, you know, it might make the test a little bit longer and more boring for a sport that most people think is boring already and will affect and may affect our membership or standing. I'm paraphrasing here in the Olympic family. And I was like, "Oh, well, there's the main issue that you're afraid of losing the glitz and the glory because you know, at the cost of the horse's well-being. There's the
Yeah.
fucking problem. There's the problem right there.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Written
there's
in
the
bold between the
problem.
lines.
Like you're mad that a horse has to show that they can follow contact correctly?
Mm,
You're afraid to show that you know that the horse's ability to move like and why are you that their ability to do this work isn't dependent upon fucking thigh blocks, thigh rolls? You know, you're afraid to let a horse relax in their test and show that they can relax. Like you're arguing all the wrong reasons. And like this isn't an agenda. This is proof of this work as valuable to the world because as it is right now, with all these horses, you know, their feet in the trot landing backwards and not forwards and all this shit and blood and like this is not helpful to the world because it's not helpful to horses. And like if it means that we lose the standing of dressage as an Olympic sport, but the quality of life for horses gets better,
might be it. That's a big win.
that's a huge win.
Mm,
Now, if the horses if the horses can get better and it still remain part of the Olympics, then perfect. But like if it's being a member of the Olympic sports family is predicated on horses being run into the ground, no, it's
No.
not worth it.
No, never is.
You know what I mean? But for this particular person, reading through the lines, it is. And like, there's our problem.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And
mm.
we have horses, like the majority of them at Wild Rose, who are like, you know what? Like, we're not gonna allow ourselves to be run into the ground. We'll turn our bodies off. You just can't. They just won't work. You know? So yeah, that was. I'm and and so the fact that they've gotten there, and then like you were saying, Ross, the fact that the places where they've come from, because like I said with like Illustre, like that's the first time I've cantered him. I mean, first we thought that he had to be retired and wouldn't be rideable again, but like that's the first time I've cantered him since he's been back under saddle, you know? So yeah, but it was wonderful, and they've all been really good in their own way, and you all being there just made it so special. So thank you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. No, thank you for having us along.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh shit, 3 whole days with Amy and Ross. This is going to be epic.
And and we all survived. You
And
got back to
it was
Colorado.
it was epic indeed.
You will
And
never
and
look at a firefly in the same way ever again.
I'm saving that message forever. It is the most wonderful thing. Fireflies. So wonderful. It was really good. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. And thank you also for being flexible with um just our, this part, because I know we were supposed to do it in person and then Jim got sick. And so I just really appreciate the flexibility there too.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, of
In the
course.
scale of things, obviously
Yeah.
Jim needed you. Jim comes first. Here we
I
are.
know,
It's
well, I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just saying I understand your empathy, and I'm thankful. And I just think that it's important to say that. So thank you for that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time out of your day to chat to us today. It's
Oh, I was
been an
And
looking
absolute
forward
pleasure.
to it. I was like, the horses got their feet done. I was like, I've got to be done by 12 o'clock. And I got up early and did my chores. And I was like, yes, yes, I'm 5 minutes until then. So I planned my whole day really around it. And I'm so happy to see you. And I'm so glad that we were able to do this sooner than later. And I'm really, and I'm really thankful for, you all sharing what you thought about it, because like I also, um, when you present your work to the world, you never know what people are gonna think. You know what I mean? And like, like you can do the best that you can, and like so many people cannot see it. And so I'm really grateful that um you all took some valuable things away from it. That really makes me feel good. So thank you for that. Your
sure
attention
did.
in that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
really,
Thank
Yeah,
really
you again for
special.
having us.
Yeah, we have to do it again.
Yeah.
totally.
2027.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know. I mean, I haven't planned on it. I haven't planned next year out, but even if I don't do it, if it's not an offering, you guys still should come over.
Yeah. Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then we
Sure.
can we can do it again, and we can just party all 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh God, the Brits are back, aren't they?
With open arms, with open arms and open hearts. Um, yeah, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Gotta
Thank
ask
you.
a question.
Uh-oh, what's up?
Uh,
The
So
answer is yes.
it's has V been asking about my shaman balls?
Wait, yes, yes. That's my answer. Wait, what?
Please don't make me repeat shaman balls.
You just did it.
Well played. Well played. I'm going to keep them hidden. Tell her Jean has some.
You can abbreviate them. You can call them SBs.
Actually, Shaman Stones, aren't they? But we've got our own name. Yeah.
Shaman balls is far better.
I think you might have to talk to Jean about that one.
Okay. I'll wait till I get a download.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll let you know. She'll let you know. If she knows that you're listening and she needs something from you, she'll land her little spaceship right in your brain.
God, the postage is going to be expensive, isn't it?
Huh?
The postage is going to be expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
You just have to hand deliver it.
you will. And Jean has her little collection because I've given her like the stuff that I worked on with Shoto. I gave her that stone, and then I gave her one that I worked on with uh 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 Jay, and so she'll have this little rock garden collection.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah. Well, I've got to start my evening chores now.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's so, I think this is the most we've seen each other in the shortest amount of time. And my heart is just bubbling over.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Let's do these catch ups a bit more frequently.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
leave it along.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
I'll see you guys later.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
We will do. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. So there we have it. That's the roundup of our whistle stop tour of Wisconsin. Before we let you guys go, Amy and I would just like to say a very big thank you to both Jean and Kieran at Wild Rose Farm for not only hosting the weekend's events, but for their hospitality and just for being exceptionally lovely people to spend time with and get to know. And of course, a big thank you to Nahshon for not only deciding to share his work with the public this year, but for taking the time out to chat with us on today's episode. So, if you've made it this far, congratulations. You don't get a certificate, but we hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we have recording. And we look forward to welcoming you back in 2 weeks' time for another episode of the Little Horse Big Conversation podcast. See you then.